Listen up. Use more than your ears to listen. When you listen, connect with the part of you that always feels like something important is missing from your life. This truth has never been told to you before, but now you're ready to hear it. Another name for this spiritual secret is a quantum code. It is so powerful that once you remember it, no one, nothing, or old fear will ever be able to control you again. This secret has been carefully kept hidden, not in a vault, but right in front of everyone, as a story. Thoth, the great teacher and master of reality's rules, told them exactly how to find it. This isn't just old history, though. This is about now in your life. I am going to show you how this one change in how you think will wake up your soul, or true quantum self, after a long sleep. It will seem like magic when it does. Everything in your life that feels broken, jumbled, or unclear will start to get back in order. Do you understand what I mean by emptiness? That feeling like you're pretending to be someone else? That's because our whole world is based on a consensus reality, which is a shared 3D program that is meant to make you forget how powerful you really are. They taught you to be a limited particle, but you are really a consciousness wave that goes on, and as long as you remember, you have to do what they say. You take in. You hide your light. That ends today. I'm going to show you where Thoth's key is hidden. But first, you need to know an important truth. You already have everything you've been desperately looking for on the outside: love, peace, acceptance, and power, stored as a quantum potential, waiting for you to observe it. I'll tell you where this master key to your memory is hidden at the end of this video. It's not in an old book. It's not on top of a mountain. You have it with you all the time, but you've never been taught to see it. Are you all set? Because once you see this, your reality will never go back to the way it was before. Please take a moment to subscribe before we start this trip. Think of this as your first act of commitment. You are making a stable, energetic connection to this frequency by subscribing. This lets the universe know that you are ready to receive these quantum calibrations and remember who you are. We now know that they have hidden the key that will free your consciousness. It's time to show them how they did it. The most amazing thing is that people from different civilizations, across oceans and thousands of years, talked about the same thing. For example, the mystics in India and the philosophers in Greece all talked about the same thing. How is that possible? The web wasn't there. There were no phones around. Still, these old masters all said the same thing. The soul does not awaken at birth. It goes to sleep very soundly. These days, birth is the start of everything. But in these old cultures, birth was the start of forgetting. According to what they taught, your soul, or pure consciousness, came from the quantum field. This was a place with endless possibilities and a sense of being linked to everything. There was not a split. The memory of the real, limitless you was alive and moving. But something happens when they enter a physical body. It's like a veil is covering your view. This was what Thoth called a frequency drop. The infinite awareness that exists in superposition, all the possible outcomes at the same time, all of a sudden collapses into a single, fixed 3D timeline. You forget that you are the ocean and think that you are just a wave. In Egypt, Thoth said that the body wasn't the question. The problem is that you think you are only your body. In India, wise people called this Maya, which means the big lie of a solid, separate world. Philosophers in ancient Greece said that the soul forgot its divine quantum beginning and got stuck in a prison of repetition. Can you see the pattern? The truth is the same in all cultures, but this wasn't written on the walls of public parks. It was thought of as quantum information, and it was quietly passed from master to disciple in temple chambers that only the most qualified people were allowed to enter. Why? They were afraid of this truth because they knew it could be bad. If a normal person, whose heart and mind were not ready, got access to this information, their ego could take over. Instead of changing things, they might use it to feel better about themselves, to control others, or to escape reality. These masters knew that you can only use real wisdom and quantum power when your heart is clear. Just wanting to know isn't enough. You need to be ready to live out what you learn. That's why there was silence in the temples. People who came looking for quick answers or cool powers didn't get anything. But people who were able to stay quiet started to hear something. This is not a sound, but a frequency, a thought. What really took place in those temples? What could finally remind a soul that it is infinite when it is lost in the 3D illusion? Get ready, because we're about to walk through those doors. It's not a ritual either, what you're about to see. It's such a deep quantum recalibration process that it changes your consciousness for good. This information was brought to you for a reason. If these words make you feel like you know this person, share this video right now. You are not just sending a link when you share this transmission. You are also sending a quantum signal through the collective field. This creates an energetic link to another soul that is vibrating at the same frequency and is ready to awaken. We now know that they have the key to your freedom hidden somewhere. Now is the time to show them what they did wrong. People from different civilizations, thousands of years ago and across oceans, talked about the same thing. That's pretty cool. That is, the Indian mystics and the Greek philosophers all talked about the same thing. How is that possible? There was no web. There were no phones around. They all said the same thing, though. The soul does not awaken at birth. A very good sleep is had by it. These days, everything starts with birth. In these old cultures, though, birth was the beginning of forgetting. They taught that the quantum field was where your soul, or pure consciousness, came from. This place felt like it was connected to everything and had endless possibilities. There was no split. It was alive and moving to remember the real, limitless you. But when they enter a body, something happens. The view is like being blocked by a veil. Thoth called this a frequency drop. All the possible outcomes are at the same time in the infinite awareness that exists in superposition. Suddenly, this awareness collapses into a single, fixed 3D timeline. You think you are just a wave and forget that you are the ocean. Thoth said in Egypt that it wasn't about the body. You believe you are only your body, which is wrong. The smart people in India called this Maya, which means the big lie of a real separate world. At that time, Greek philosophers said that the soul forgot its divine quantum beginning and got stuck in a prison of repetition. Are you able to see the pattern? The truth is the same everywhere. But this wasn't written on park walls. Some people thought of it as quantum information, and it was quietly passed from master to disciple in temple rooms that only the most qualified people could get into. Why? They were scared of the truth because they knew it could be bad. Someone whose heart and mind were not ready could let their ego take over if they got this information. They may not change things, but instead use it to feel better about themselves, to control other people, or to escape reality. They knew that having a clear heart is the only way to use real wisdom and quantum power. It's not enough to just want to know. You need to be ready to use what you learn. That's why the temples were quiet. People who came hoping for quick answers or cool powers didn't get anything. But people who could keep quiet began to hear something. This is a frequency, not a sound, a thought. What did those temples really hold? When a soul is lost in the 3D illusion, what could finally remind it that it is infinite? Get ready, because we're going to walk through those doors. What you're about to see is also not a ritual. It's such a deep process of quantum recalibration that it changes your mind for good. You were given this information for a reason. Now share this video with someone if these words make you feel like you know them. Through the collective field, when you share this transmission, you send more than just a link. You send a quantum signal as well. To connect with another soul that is vibrating at the same frequency and is ready to awaken, do this. That jump wasn't ready for everyone. This is Thoth's most important warning. It was very dangerous to cross that portal without being ready, because you could break your system if you remember your infinite self before your mind and body are ready. Consider that the normal 3D consensus reality is that your nervous system can handle 110 volts. Imagine trying to channel 10,000 volts, the frequency of your full quantum self, through those same wires all at once. It would short-circuit the system. This is what happens when someone with a lot of unresolved trauma and fear suddenly connects with the vastness of their true nature. It might be too much. It may seem crazy. The biggest risk is to cross without planning to and get lost in the space between dimensions. You can't take back what you saw on the other side. What if you don't know how to put that information together, though? What if your mind tries to make sense of that feeling of endlessness by twisting it and turning it into a new, more complicated illusion instead of freedom? That's why the masters told everyone, do not seek this path just because you are interested. If you want power or a quick fix, don't walk this way. You might make things even more confusing if you try to remember who you are before clearing the energetic density of your body. You could switch one prison for a bigger one that looks more spiritual. If you know how important it is to get your vessel ready, click like. There is a signal of quantum coherence in this action. This tells your nervous system that you will honor this process. Move forward with spiritual awareness instead of spiritual ego, and that you are ready to heal safely. So what is the first problem we have to deal with that we can't see? The thing that runs almost every part of your life. It was known to Thoth as the lie of the self. It's also where most people give up. There is a chance that you will awaken before you are ready. This is the first real problem you need to solve. It's not a ghost. It's not a force from outside. There's a program running in your mind that you can't see. It was called The Lie of the Self by Thoth. Who would be brave enough to look themselves in the mirror and say they've been lying to themselves their whole lives? The wall is inside of you. It is everything you think you are put together. The trouble is that you were conditioned from the time you were born. It was planned for you. Your boss told you what to think about love, getting things done, failing, and yourself. You thought they were true, not because you were weak, but because you never learned how to question the plan. I have a question for you. How often did you pause and observe your own thoughts today? How many times did you ask yourself, where did that thought come from? Most of the things you think every day are not your own ideas. They are neural pathways or automatic programs that have been used over and over again. They're like apps that run in the background of your mind and drain your energy and life force. According to quantum law, these programs are repeatedly collapsing the same old reality because they keep looking at it in the same old way. This is where the first real step on this path starts. It is not magical. The answer is clear, simple, and very hard. I want you to stop having those negative, limiting thoughts the next time they come up. The ones that come up when you're tired, scared, or insecure. And I want you to ask yourself what Thoth taught his followers. Is this thought really mine, or did they just put it in me? That one question is an act of quantum disentanglement, even though it sounds too easy. Finally, the observer, you, is able to see the program, the thought. There is no going back once you do this. You are no longer the program. When you understand that a lot of your emotional pain wasn't your own but was taught to you, something breaks open. There is no destruction. That's freedom. Each thought you question breaks a chain. But watch out. The ego will fight back because it was made to protect this false identity. It will warn you that giving up these beliefs is risky. It will ask, who will you be without these thoughts? But the truth is that those thoughts were never you. They were just a false observer who made a reality for you that you didn't want. When the old stories end, there is a void and silence. This is where something starts to happen. That silence might feel scary at first. You quickly learn, though, that silence isn't empty. It's full. The quantum field is what it is. It is the place where something old can finally come back. What has been asleep since birth starts to wake up when the first illusion falls. It's not a new skill, a memory that is quiet. And the things that used to drive you seem small when it comes to the surface. The fights that used to drain you no longer do. The world is the same, but you're not. Because the way you look at things has changed. Let's break this pattern. I am the observer of my mind. Say it out loud in the comments below. Let typing these words be your first clear statement that you are free. You are sending a signal to the quantum field that you are not the program anymore, but the consciousness that is watching it. Something amazing starts to happen as that memory starts to come back to you. You understand that you can see things other than with your eyes for the first time. Thoughts that are quiet and don't judge, analyze, or label. It just knows. It was known as the single eye by Thoth. It's not a real eye, but a state of quantum perception. Before reality collapses into a hard fact, your consciousness is tuning into the wave function of reality. I know this is how you feel. When you walk into a room, you feel like something is wrong for no reason. You might meet someone who says all the right things, but you just know they're not telling the truth. That's the one eye. The frequency of a situation is being picked up by your quantum self, which can sense the truth beyond what it looks like in 3D. But why do most of us not have much of this sense? We learn to believe only what we can see and measure. The data and logic told us to believe them and not listen to our deepest intuition or quantum precognition. This intuition has always been our true guide. The surface is what your eyes see. The single eye can pick up on the quantum field below. This is the first thing Thoth told his followers to do. Take a moment to close your eyes. Now, don't keep looking for answers. Just stop making noise in your head. It's not possible to see. Hold still for 10 seconds. 10 seconds in which you don't look, think, or expect anything. You just feel. Something comes out of that tiny bit of silence. It feels like nothing at first. That nothing is everything, though. All potential is in the field with a 0 point. In that stillness, the single eye comes to life. You break out of the mental static for a moment and realize that you are a vast, intelligent being. Why is this so important? Because as long as you use your logic to look for answers, all you will find are old ideas that have been used before. Things don't come to you as thoughts, though. when you start to feel with this direct quantum perception. They show up as clear, as if you knew everything right away and didn't need to say anything. However, this view is only the start. It's like letting air into a door. The light is coming in, but on the other side, there is something more. Because it's one thing to know the truth, it's another thing to live from it. This next step has something that no teacher, book, or video can teach you. It has to do with the unique quantum signature of your soul. Comment: I am tuning into my core frequency, if you can feel this inner truth. This will help you ground it in reality. Feel how this statement makes you feel. In a quantum sense, this is more than just a comment. It's a clear yes to the universe that you are ready to listen to the loud and unique signal of your soul. Something amazing starts to happen as that memory starts to come back to you. You understand that you can see things other than with your eyes for the first time. Thoughts that are quiet and don't judge, analyze, or label. It just knows. It was known as the single eye by Thoth. It's not a real eye, but a state of quantum perception. Before reality collapses into a hard fact, your consciousness is tuning into the wave function of reality. I know this is how you feel. When you walk into a room, you feel like something is wrong for no reason. You might meet someone who says all the right things, but you just know they're not telling the truth. That's the one eye. The frequency of a situation is being picked up by your quantum self, which can sense the truth beyond what it looks like in 3D. But why do most of us not have much of this sense? We learn to believe only what we can see and measure. The data and logic told us to believe them and not listen to our deepest intuition or quantum precognition. This intuition has always been our true guide. The surface is what your eyes see. The single eye can pick up on the quantum field below. This is the first thing Thoth told his followers to do. Take a moment to close your eyes. Now, don't keep looking for answers. Just stop making noise in your head. It's not possible to see. Hold still for 10 seconds. 10 seconds in which you don't look, think, or expect anything. You just feel. Something comes out of that tiny bit of silence. It feels like nothing at first. That nothing is everything, though. All potential is in the field with a 0 point. In that stillness, the single eye comes to life. You break out of the mental static for a moment and realize that you are a vast, intelligent being. Why is this so important? Because as long as you use your logic to look for answers, all you will find are old ideas that have been used before. Things don't come to you as thoughts, though, when you start to feel with this direct quantum perception. They show up as clear, as if you knew everything right away and didn't need to say anything. However, this view is only the start. It's like letting air into a door. The light is coming in, but on the other side, there is something more. Because it's one thing to know the truth, it's another thing to live from it. This next step has something that no teacher, book, or video can teach you. It has to do with the unique quantum signature of your soul. Comment: I am tuning into my core frequency, if you can feel this inner truth. This will help you ground it in reality. Feel how this statement makes you feel. In a quantum sense, this is more than just a comment. It's a clear yes to the universe that you are ready to listen to the loud and unique signal of your soul. When you think about that memory, amazing things begin to happen. For the first time, you realize that you can see things other than your eyes. Thoughts that don't talk back or judge, analyze, or label. It knows for sure. Thoth called it the single eye. The I is not real. It's a state of quantum perception. Your consciousness is tuning into the wave function of reality just before it collapses into a hard fact. I understand how you feel. You feel like something is wrong when you walk into a room for no reason. There are times when someone says nice things, but you know they're not telling the truth. That's the one I. Your quantum self can pick up on the frequency of a situation and know the truth, even if it doesn't look like it in 3D. But why don't most of us have this sense? We learned to only trust what we can see and measure. Truth and reason told us to trust them instead of our deepest intuition or quantum precognition. We've always been able to trust our gut. What you see is the surface. The quantum field below can be picked up by the single eye. First, Thoth told those who follow him to do this. Close your eyes for a moment. Right now. Don't keep trying to find answers. Don't make noise in your head. It's not possible to see. Try to stay still for 10 seconds. You don't have to look, think, or expect anything for 10 seconds. You just feel. That little bit of silence leads to something. At first, it seems like nothing, but that nothing is everything. Any potential is in the field where there is no point. The single eye comes to life in that stillness. When you finally break out of the mental fog, you realize that you are a huge, smart being. Why is this so important? If you only use logic to find answers, you will only come up with old ideas that have been used before. When you start to feel with this direct quantum perception, things don't come to you as thoughts. It looks like they are clear, like you already knew everything and didn't need to say anything. But this is just the beginning. It's like opening a door to let air in. There is more on the other side than just the light coming in. Since it's one thing to know the truth, it's a different thing to live off of it. You can't learn this next step from a teacher, a book, or a video. It has to do with the fact that your soul has its own unique quantum signature. Say, I am tuning into my core frequency. If you can feel this truth inside you, this will help you make it more real. Think about how this sentence makes you feel. This is more than just a comment in a quantum sense. It's a clear yes to the universe that you are ready to listen to your soul's loud and clear signal. You have been getting rid of the perceptual filters that were keeping your true self from view. And once those filters come off and your soul finally wakes up, there is no reversing the change. From now on, your mind's automatic. Scary responses will no longer control your life. You start to feel something strange, which Thoth named the waking trance. This is not the same as a hypnotic trance where you lose consciousness. That's not true at all. You are aware of things more than ever before. All is observed by your quantum self. It feels everything. It is no longer entangled in the emotional wave or anxious thoughts, though. At first glance, it seems like you're in the middle of a crazy storm, but deep down, there is a place so still that nothing can move you. This state isn't a way to get away from life. It is living life fully present. There are still problems for you. You still have friends and family. Now, though, you're not a character lost in the story. You're the consciousness that watches the story happen. You don't believe everything your mind tells you anymore, but it still thinks. You still feel hurt, but you don't automatically react to them. They make you feel something, but they don't take over your life. And then something truly amazing takes place. Things start to change with time, which used to feel like an enemy. Temporal flexibility begins to occur to you. That feeling of always having to rush, being late, and not having enough time goes away. While you are fully in the quantum now, time seems to stretch out. We feel deeply and fully each moment, no matter how simple it is. You could be doing the dishes and feel calm in a way that didn't seem possible before. The feelings that used to control you are no longer strong. You simply observe its energy and let it go. Anger does not control you. You don't let anxiety stop you. You see it as a computer program trying to guess what will happen in the future that hasn't collapsed yet. This is real freedom. The freedom to do what you want. Not to act without thinking. To stay away from old, painful habits. The ego could never give you this freedom because it is the pattern. The spirit is free. It observes, comprehends, and acts with clarity. And the way you see other people may change the most. You don't see enemies or competitors when your quantum self is in charge. You start to see that everyone is just carrying their own pain and programs, just like you were. And this makes you feel real, deep compassion. The real question is now here. Is it possible to always live like this? It feels easy when you're meditating in silence. But what about during rush hour? What if your boss is yelling at you or a family member is making you mad? Can this peace at the quantum level last when it hits normal life? Now is when the mind, which has been quiet, tries to take charge again. It says in a low voice, "This is nice, but it's not possible." And once you believe that, you fall back into the old pattern. Waking up isn't the hard part. The tough part is staying awake. If you're ready for this beautiful challenge, click like. As you do this, let it be an energetic anchor for your presence. In this waking trance, you are bringing your mind and body together. You are choosing to be the calm center of the storm, no matter what happens in 3D. When you close your eyes and are alone, it's easy to remember who you are. The real test is being able to remember who you are when everyone else is trying hard to forget. He said, "The true alchemist is the one who walks awake among the asleep and does not let them put him back to sleep." That says it all. The world won't stop so you can be calm. The demands, the chaos, and the scary news that keeps coming at you all keep going. It is a strong interference pattern that keeps trying to pull you back into its consensus reality. This is the collective frequency. Here is where you decide who is in charge. The high frequency of your soul or the low frequency static of the world. In real life, this starts with doing small, wise things. The first is being aware of being there. Being where your body is what this means. You should be there if you're washing dishes. Feel the water. Pay attention when someone is talking to you. Don't let your thoughts wander to the past or the future. This is a constant practice for keeping your attention on the now. The second step is to be quiet. There is a place inside you that can stay quiet even when people are arguing. Even if the room is loud, you can still feel calm in some way. It's the very small amount of time between the stimulus and your response. In that place, you can choose how to act instead of just hearing what other people say. The third thing is to keep the frequency clean. The things you see, hear, and say affect your electromagnetic field. If you watch a lot of media that makes you afraid, your frequency drops. Some people's energy entangles with yours and makes it weaker. Picking and choosing what you think about is a spiritual defense. It has to do with keeping your quantum coherence. This practice changes you over time. You no longer react to things that used to trigger you. People who used to make you angry are less powerful now that they can't make you angry. But, as Thoth said, the mind doesn't like being fired. It will try to make you believe this is not true. At that point, you need to remember who is watching whom. If you keep doing this, amazing things start to happen. Your understanding grows. You start to remember things that you thought were gone. Memories that will last beyond this life. Intense déjà vu that feels more like a reality bleed and a sense of knowing a place you've never been are some of the flashes you start to have. This isn't making up stories. Now that your soul is coherent, it can start to access quantum information from its past lives. When those deeper memories start to come back to you, you realize something that changes the way you see the world. You thought your birth in this life was the start of your story, but it's really just one chapter in a longer one. Thoth was clear. Your spirit, your mind, did not come with your body when you were born. For now, the body is just a vehicle. The soul lives for a long time. Before it turned into the you think it is now, it was many things in many places. Those memories didn't go away either. All of them are saved in the quantum field as data. A lot of the time, these memories don't look like clear movie scenes. They show up in the little things you do every day and the habits you can't seem to break. Why do you always end up with the same kind of person? The same trouble? When you change everything about the outside, why do some feelings keep coming back? Your soul wants to tell you something. These are quantum echoes, which are unresolved frequencies from other timelines or your past lives that are entangled with the present. It's possible to integrate any pattern that bothers you deeply because it's a reminder of something you lived in the past. All it needs is for you to observe it with love. And these memories don't just make things hard. They bring you gifts. That skill you have by nature, that odd, deep interest in something that no one else cares about. That's the muscle memory of your soul from past lives. Skills that are downloading into your present awareness. But a lot of people get lost here. To make the ego happy, the mind tries to turn these memories into stories. They're not here to boost your ego, though. These people are here to free your mind. You will only make more illusions if you try to control the process. And as these broken memories come back to the surface, a new problem arises. You are confused and feel alone. So you go outside to books, gurus, and courses in a desperate search for someone who can explain things to you. However, Thoth made this very clear. The real teacher, the only one who can lead you, has always been inside you. You have always been the real master. Only you can show you the way through paths no one else can see. It's inside of you. It's your quantum self that has woken up. It also doesn't talk like a person. It talks to you through your awakened mind. There is a soft, quiet voice that doesn't try to persuade you. It knows for sure. This voice inside doesn't make sense. In felt truth, it speaks. This sense of coherence comes before a thought even starts. The strong yes or no that comes from your heart. So people who only live in the noise of their minds don't notice it. How do you get to this voice? Not by trying to find out more, but by making more noise. Leave some space between your ideas. You close off the door that the master wants to use when you are looking for quick, logical answers. It's not as bad as your anxiety. It wants you to be still. This is the most important practice. Before you make a choice, pause. Close your eyes. Take deep breaths. Feel. Do not think. Feel. What comes first in that empty space before your mind starts getting angry? That's the voice. It's the signal from your core frequency. It won't always make you feel better. Sometimes it leads to the tougher path. This voice doesn't want to keep your ego happy. That's why. It wants your soul to grow. It wants you to remember. And it's not always easy to remember things. This is why a lot of people ignore their gut feelings. The ego doesn't get what it wants from it. The soul knows what to do because of it. When you start to trust your inner guidance, this is when your mind sets up its smartest trap. It puts on a spiritual mask because it knows it's losing control. "You are so awake now," it whispers. "You're not like everyone else. You know more. You are unique. And if you think that, you'll fall into the last and most dangerous trap, the ego, or spirit." If you're ready to trust your inner guide, post a comment that says, "I trust my inner guidance." With this act, you are taking back your power from everyone else. By turning on your own quantum perception, you are making a clear choice to live your life based on the clear, felt truth that comes from your soul. Now we've reached the most delicate and dangerous part of the trip. The person Thoth called the last enemy. It's not an enemy coming at you from the outside. There's a whisper coming from inside. A whisper that is so soft and alluring that many people think it is the voice of enlightenment. It's the ego that wants money or power, but not just any ego. This is the ego that wears a light mask. Thoth said that the last trap is not in the world. It shows up when you start to think of yourself as special because you woke up. Right at the finish line, this is where you might get lost. Lack of knowledge is not the real prison. It's pride that looks like wisdom. Your ego stays with you. It only changes clothes. As soon as it sees that you're interested in awakening and quantum reality, it says, "Great. I will be the quantum-aware person in the world." The frequency separation it makes. You have already fallen when you think, "I am awake and different from those who are still asleep." Because there is no quantum oneness where there is separation. This is why a lot of people who try to find light end up making a new kind of darkness. They get information and transformation mixed up. They forget that real light doesn't need to be called out. It is what it is. What makes you think you're in this trap? When you feel like you have to be right, your spiritual ego comes out. When you judge people in silence for being stuck in habits you've broken. When you get angry that the world isn't evolving fast enough for you. Your quantum self that is awake doesn't need to persuade anyone. It knows that each soul is on the right path for them. The need to be someone feeds the ego. When you let go of even that, you've reached true transcendence. When you stop trying to be someone else and just are, you don't have to fight your ego. You just stop giving it food. Don't compare or measure anything. But there is one more test. Do you love someone who is lost even though they don't need to change? Can you see the same divine worth in someone who is just starting out as you see in yourself? If you said yes, you have started to take off the last mask of the ego. Since genuine love that doesn't depend on anything else is the highest level of quantum coherence. This stage isn't the end. It is the last step in getting ready to go back to the source. Somewhere there is no longer a I and a other, just being. Something quiet takes place at that moment. The ego was hoping for a big show with fireworks and a cosmic coronation. But what seems to be there is a simple, deep silence inside. A silence that doesn't need to be praised. This is when you understand it. Everything that you fought for, longed for, and cried for was always inside you. Not as a success, but as a presence that would never go away. This was what Thoth called conscious unity. This is what we might call total field coherence these days. Not anymore is there a gap between you and the universe. You can no longer seek and be sought. You're no longer just the wave. You are the ocean of quantum fields, which is experiencing itself as a wave. You believe that life itself is the answer, so you no longer need to look for them. No more questions because there is no longer a separate asker. Being is the only thing there is. What does this look like in real life? Honestly, it's really easy. You can't just float away from your duties in this state. The opposite is true. When you breathe with presence, conscious unity shows itself. Whenever you sip a glass of water and think about how amazing that is, it's in every everyday action that it becomes holy. It's not because the act changed, but because you are more aware of it now. You don't do spirituality as a separate thing anymore. It's your life. There's no need for rituals to feel close. There's no need to go anywhere else. This is a very surrendered state. There's no fight back. And the energy from the source, the zero-point field, flows freely through you where there is no resistance. You are still a person. You still feel. You are still having trouble. Now, though, everything takes place in a bigger, quieter awareness space. You see both pain and happiness as short-lived frequencies moving through the huge, eternal field of your consciousness. This is where Thoth tells the secret that he never wrote down but whispered. It's not a code. It's something much simpler that is, in turn, much deeper. Press like to lock in this frequency if you feel the deep peace of this unity. The feeling of total field coherence is added to your heart's electromagnetic field when you do this. In this vibrational state, you agree to let go of resistance and live from a place of being simple, strong, and aware. So nothing can be lost in the soul, Thoth said. You can remember everything. It's not a metaphor, that phrase. Quantum law states that. You have had all the knowledge, memories, and connections to the source inside you since the beginning of time. All of this information is kept in the quantum field, which some people call the Akashic records. There was no way the truth could leave you, no matter how much the world tried to make you forget. Only the cover was there. Think of your soul as a lake that is deep and quiet. The waves of the 3D world move on the surface. They are fear, desire, and confusion. But deep down, the lake is always calm, and it always shows the truth in the best way. That quiet depth is still there, waiting for you to remember it, even when you feel lost, broken, or crazy. The act of forgetting is only a short-term interference pattern. The soul will always remember things. You may have connected with your pain, your mistakes, or your stories that hold you back. But nothing was ever lost in your essence, in your quantum self. How do you get to that memory? You can't try. Not by force, but by getting into a deep state of listening to yourself. The soul doesn't yell. It talks softly. And you have to quiet your mind to hear it. The god Thoth said that remembering is not a mental process. As a spiritual thing, it really is. It is not about learning facts. Tuning your frequency to what has always been there is important. It's like putting on a light when it's dark. The furniture is not made by the light. It shows what was there all along. This is the most beautiful part. That huge quantum self doesn't think less of you because you forgot. It doesn't make you bad. When you decide to stop looking at the outside world and start feeling what's inside, it will be there for you to remember. Because of this, Thoth's most important lesson was, the real seeker is not one who gathers knowledge, but one who learns to be silent. Due to the fact that silence makes you stop looking, and you begin to remember. Now, after this journey, after clearing your mind, getting past the ego's lies, and touching the soul's long-lost memory, something finally happens. It is a reminder that lives on, an event that changes you at the quantum level and above. This is where you finally understand the truth. The person in the story is not you. You're not the fear. You're not the hurt. You are the consciousness that saw everything. You are the sky that stays big, quiet, and unaltered as the clouds of thought and feeling go by. The sky doesn't turn into a storm. It just keeps the storm out. That's what you are. Friends, this is the real secret that you can't tell anyone. They can't be controlled once a person remembers who they really are. That is, once they know they are the conscious observer. Low-frequency programs of fear, lack, or division can't control them anymore. Any attempts to control the soul from the outside will fail once it remembers its quantum nature. Because you were never really powerful out there. It's been inside you the whole time, waiting for you to notice. At this point, fear goes away. It's not because you're brave, but because there is nothing left to guard. All the things that can be lost are just part of the 3D trick, and nothing can ever threaten what you really are, which is pure, infinite consciousness. Now this is complete freedom. You're still alive. You are no longer of this world, though. You dance with life, but you never forget that there is silence watching. Your soul is ready if you've made it this far. Some part of you has already begun to remember. If this journey touched your soul, do something physical to remember it. Say it out loud in the comments. I am remembering who I am. Let the act of writing these words be an anchor for your vibration that holds this truth in place in this moment. You're not just typing. You're announcing that you are awake. I want to know who really felt this change. Click the bell and subscribe if you haven't already. This is your promise to stay awake. It makes a coherent quantum link with this information field, which keeps your evolutionary momentum going and makes sure you never miss a transmission meant for your soul. There is a unique link in the first pinned comment that you can use to help this channel reach more people who are ready to awaken. With your help, this coherent frequency can reach more people around the world. Before you leave, don't stop this flow. The video I chose for you is shown here on the screen. That's the next key. I'll meet you there after you click it.